Hey everybody, we are live. This is Joe McCarthy from MoJOE Studio, along with my three Gen buddies, Rick Olson of Rick Olson Seminars and Jon Weirauch. And now we have a special guest tonight, which I will let Rick Olson introduce, and we can't wait to share her story with our world.
Thanks, Joe. And to all your listeners, it's great to be back with you tonight. These times together have been just fantastic. And we've heard so many great stories. You're going to hear an amazing story tonight. One of my favorite people on the planet, one of the finest leaders I know. And it's just a real honor to interview her tonight. So I do want to introduce you to my friend, Vicki Schmitzer. Vicki is the CEO of Frankenmuth Credit Union in Frankenmuth, Michigan. The Frankenmuth, Michigan story is an amazing story. We're going to get to that in a little bit. The Frankenmuth Credit Union story is also an amazing story. It's an award-winning story, and it's just one of the great business success stories that I know. And we're going to get a behind-the-scenes look as we talk to their CEO, Vicki Schmitzer, tonight. So, Vicki, we want to welcome you. Delight to be spending this time with you. And so, first of all, if you just want to say hi to our friends, give them a nice Michigan greeting, and we'll be off and running here.
Hi there. It's my pleasure to be here. And those of you that don't know, this is Michigan. So this is how we tell people where we're going, because Michigan is in the shape of a hand.
Very good. And so, Vicki, I want to start off by just talking about Frankenmuth. I've been there so many times. I absolutely love it. And I keep telling everybody, you've got to get to Frankenmuth. And I told my sister, Marge, you've got to come to Frankenmuth. She runs a seniors ministry at the church. They take people on bus trips to fascinating places around the Midwest, but they'd never been to Frankenmuth. I convinced her to come, and she came, absolutely fell in love with your city. Now she's bringing 100 seniors back to Frankenmuth, and they can't wait to get to Frankenmuth. I think everybody should go. Vicki, you are so integrally involved in that community. Tell people about Frankenmuth. Just sell Frankenmuth to us for a little bit here.
Well, once you come, it sells itself, but I will tell you about it. Frankenmuth was founded by a group from Germany that landed here and wanted to teach Christianity to the Indians. And so they formed logging missions in 5 places along the Cass River. And so that's how we started. And that's Frankenmuth is courage of the Franconians. That's what it means. And it's just a German little fun town. The latest census is in, and we have grown to 5,500 people. So we are
Congratulations.
we're a rather small community, but we expand to over 100,000 almost every weekend. There's a different kind of a festival that goes on almost every weekend, and we welcome visitors. Several times now, we have been the #1 tourist attraction in Michigan. The latest competitor there was a Cabela's that was on our I-75 highway, and that took over for a while, but I believe Frankenmuth is now back in the lead as the #1 tourist attraction in Michigan. Some of the things that we're pretty proud of is we have the world's largest Christmas store, and that is called Brunner's. I'm not sure how many football fields big it is. I think it's about 7 or 8.
That's what I've heard.
And there's decorations as far as the eye can see and as high as the eye can see. It's pretty amazing to be in a city that touts something to that extent. And they call it Brunner's Christmas Wonderland. And the first 5 letters in there are capitalized because they want to make sure that people know to keep the Christ in Christmas. We also have 2 of the largest family style restaurants, and they are even in the Guinness World Book of Records for their amount of servings that you get when you go there. Our community is very involved as far as volunteerism. All of these festivals that are put on, almost all of the help comes from the community that volunteers, and then the money comes back into the community. We have a huge car show. That's pretty neat. That's going to be the weekend after Labor Day. And it's just, it's a twinkle of a town. I mean, we are so blessed to live here and to be able to raise our families here. Wonderful school system, wonderful people. It's just a great place to live.
It is a great place.
I agree. I was born and raised there, but it left for a little bit, and I came back, and it was the best decision I could make. In fact, last weekend I was down at the festival listening to polka music. We had Music Fest last weekend. It was a lot of fun.
It might be the USA headquarters for polka music. The accordions live on in Frankenmuth, Michigan.
There was even a country polka band there.
What's that,
There was even a country polka band.
Country polka,
there.
all right. Any polka rap going on that you've heard of so far?
I didn't hear that.
All right. Well, I get a little extra something in my step when it's time to go back to Frankenmuth. I'm captivated by the community. Every time I go, if possible, I try to go to Rotary with Vicki. We've gone to so many Rotaries, and I've gone to Rotary all over America, but it's just one of the most dynamic Rotaries that I've ever seen or been a part of. Town of 5,000, but here are well over 100 people gathering for Rotary, and they're doing amazing things in Frankenmuth and throughout the entire world. And so it's just the civic pride, I would say, is beyond anything I've found in any community that I've been a part of. As a community, you've won the Bloom Award.
Right,
Vicki, you
American Bloom.
Why don't you tell about that? That's a really cool award that the city won.
You want me to tell the behind the scenes story?
The award and kind of the criteria for how they choose who the winner of that is.
Oh my goodness, it's been about 4 or 5 years ago, and I was on the city beautification committee, and there was 8 different things that you were graded on, and we actually won. It was a national award, and we it's landmarks and flowers and community involvement and school systems and parks and just the overall cleanliness of your community. And we had a dinner because I was on the committee, and the judges were at the dinner, and they had flown in and they needed a ride to their hotel room. And the gentleman got in the car. Actually, there were 2 people. They got in the car, and we were on the way to the hotel, and they said, okay, you already won the award. You know, we've seen all the beautiful things in Frankenmuth. Why don't you show us something that might not be up to the standards of Frankenmuth? And I said, there really isn't anything. I said, I'll drive you around for the next hour. You can tell me to go straight, turn left, turn right. I'll go wherever you want, and you try to find it, because I don't think you will.
That's awesome. I've driven the town many times. I have yet to find that part either. It's just Main Street or off Main Street. It's all fabulous. Vicki plays such a key role in that city. She's so involved. Vicki, you're involved on and have been involved on many fronts. Talk a little bit about some of your involvements in the community.
I was the chamber president and served on the chamber for about 5 years. I was on the Frankenmuth Athletic Association for 9 years, and I don't know exactly how that happens, because if you have 2 seniors, that would be 4 years of high school and 4 years of high school. So I even got to serve after the kids had graduated. Definitely Rotary. Definitely Rotary. We have 130 members in our noon club, and we started up a morning club, and they have 30 or 40 members now. And this isn't me, but our JCs have the largest club in the United States right now. So it is a very active JC group. I am very involved in the Michigan Credit Union League. That isn't directly in my community, but I believe in us being better together, and you'll probably hear that a couple times because that's one of my mottos is we are better together. I served on City Beautification. I am on the Sister City Committee. We are a sister city with Gunzenhausen, Germany, and we have a great relationship where we send both workers to work in each other's community, and the school groups go back and forth. And then there's adult bands that go back and forth. So we definitely have a very strong relationship, and we fully celebrate that every 5 years on our 5-year anniversaries. I'm also involved in my church. I don't know. I don't have the list in front of me, so that's on the top of mind. I'm sorry.
Are you city council presently as well?
Oh, goodness. Yes, I am. Thank you.
Oh, by the way, city council as well.
Oh, yeah. I've been on the city council. I believe that's been 13 years.
Okay.
Definitely love the, I don't like government necessarily or politics, but I definitely like to help other people and have two sides of a story be known and just do what's right. Thanks, Rick, for that reminder.
Well, you're welcome. One busy gal. In the midst of it, she's a fabulous mother. She's a fabulous grandma. She's got a wonderful husband named Jeff. He is absolutely delightful. He always makes me smile. And just so proud of this couple and what they've done and what they meant to the city. I will tell you, when you drive into Frankenmuth, I mean, you'll just be overwhelmed with the charm of this community. But when you look around and you see a big, beautiful building going up, that will be a Frankenmuth Credit Union building, because the buildings that they have put up in the last few years are just absolutely state-of-the-art buildings. Just brought a friend by recently. He's an author. He's an international speaker. He walked into Vicki's boardroom and said, "This is the most impressive boardroom I've ever seen in my life." It just, you walk in and you want to make great decisions. It's just inspiring. But just a touch of excellence. Vicki, you have a great eye for details, decor, design, and it shows through in all your buildings. And so just so proud of what you have done there. And now we want to transition and really talk about leadership, about the Frankenmuth Credit Union. I want to start off by saying congratulations. You just won a great honor from Forbes, and you've won many honors. Your credit union has won many honors. But Forbes just came out quite recently with this one. Could you tell us a little bit about that Forbes award that you folks won?
Sure. I don't like to brag because I believe in being humble, but since you ask, the Forbes Award was for member service, and we were the top scoring financial institution in Michigan is where we won the award, but they sent us all of the scores, and we had the top score in the whole United States. So I'm pretty proud of my employees and what they bring to our members and our communities in great member service.
That is absolutely fantastic. I've been there. I know your employees. They are deserving of that award. But I'm going to go back to this. To me, things rise and fall on leadership. And Vicki, you've shown tremendous leadership there at Frankenmuth Credit Union. And your people love following you as you lead them toward world-class service. I'm going to start with kind of the first leadership question, and then I'm going to let Jon and Joe jump in here too, and we'll just kind of go back and forth, and we'll talk about different aspects of leadership. But I see your leadership now as your whole leadership life and world has developed to this wonderful stage. I'd like you to take us back to the beginning. When did you begin in your development, in your growth? When did you begin to think leadership thoughts? When did you begin to have confidence that I could lead? How did that come about in your life when you look back, even into your childhood or your school days? What transpired to bring that about in your life?
Well, there's a couple main things that come to my mind. I was thinking of my credit union career, but as you take me backwards, a couple things immediately came to my mind. We lived on a dairy farm, and it was my job to milk the cows. And as you know, you can't do that when you want to. You have to do it when it needs to be done. So my dad was definitely a community player. He himself was in the JCs. He was president of the local conservation club for over 30 years, and he had all these civic engagements. So he asked me if I would help him out and milk the cows. Well, I learned how when I was 13 and to do it by myself. I probably did it at 8 with people, but at 13 I was doing it by myself. And every morning that there wasn't school, I was out there, and every single evening, even if there was school, I was out there in the evening. So when people would ask me to do something with them, I would tell them I'm available at 7:45 after my chores are done in the evening. Then the other big opportunity that was afforded to me, I went to a career school, and I know a lot of people do that now, but back when I went, that really wasn't as popular as it is now. It was my junior and senior year of high school, and it was a business class. And we walked in, and the teacher said, "You're going to run a business. You're actually going to run it. I am going to be here as a consultant, but you're going to run the business. And if there's anybody that is interested in being the CEO of this business, turn in your name." And the next day I came to school, and lo and behold, I was the only one that had submitted my name. So here I am running this business, and we made things, and we had an accounting department, and it was the chance of a lifetime. And I know it was quite a while ago, but I honestly don't remember ever thinking, oh my goodness, what am I going to do next? I was in survival mode. I was in do what you have to do because you have a responsibility mode. And I took it away, and that's probably where my leadership started. And I hadn't thought of it till you just asked me.
That's awesome. Young CEO. I love it. That is so good. So, guys, I'm going to let you jump in here too. We all have a lot of stuff we want to ask Vicki, but I want to let Joe and Jon jump in here as well.
Well, Vicki, first of all, I want to say I've, as a visitor, really enjoyed Frankenmuth. I was on the road as a gospel musician for quite a while, and on one trip we were headed to Frankenmuth, and our vehicle broke down, and so we were running late, stressed out about showing up when the audience was already assembled. And the Frankenmuth people, they were gracious. They actually helped us set up, and there was no big deal to them. They were just happy that we were there. And then of course I got to enjoy the little, it's like stepping into Chronicles of Narnia to me. Like you walk through the closet, you're in Frankenmuth, and you're in a whole nother world. So I loved it, and I can see why you guys love it as well. As I listen to your story, I can relate on some levels. My dad grew up on a farm, and my grandparents were farmers. I didn't grow up on the farm, but I do certainly understand how the cows and the chickens and the wheat, that's not going to wait. You got to do it when you got to do it. So
Exactly.
I certainly can see how that would be very good training. Step forward a little bit beyond your high school, and then if you would identify one or two people that really were key for you in how they either taught you to be a good leader and challenged you to be a good leader, or on the opposite, showed you probably what you don't want to do as you're as you're a leader? And you don't have to name that person, but what did you learn, and who were these key people that helped you develop your own sense of leadership?
So the first person, as I mentioned, was probably my father. He told me, if you're going to do things, do them right. Just do it right the first time, and that you have responsibility and accountability. So that would be the first person. I had a CEO of another credit union. I was not CEO at the time, and we had meetings, chapter meetings, league meetings, and he would always come up to me and say, "How you doing, Vicki? How you doing? You're going to be good someday. You're going to be good someday." And it was just him taking the time out of, he was a competitor of ours, and taking the time every single time he saw me. He said, "These computer things, don't be afraid of them. Dive right in. They're going to be your best friend." Well, lo and behold, we can't even do without computers or electronics now. Right. Then there was a board member that sent me to CUNA Management School and said, "You're going to be the CEO of some credit union someday, and I hope it's this one." So those two people saw things in me that I might not have seen in myself. And honestly, that is what I try to do every single day, is just to encourage somebody and see something in them that they might not see in themselves. People come to work, and I can't really say this about Frankenmuth Credit Union. I don't think people come as a job just to get a paycheck. They're definitely there to make a difference and to do something unique for somebody. So,
and I can vouch for all that, being an employee there as well. Vicki's saying all the things that you would expect a CEO to say, but she lives and breathes it. It's 100% true, and true of the employees as well. I want to rewind a little bit, Vicki, and if you could tell us, how old were you when you first started working at the credit union? What positions did you start? You've told me stories about how you were answering phones and then running out to shovel the driveway, and just tell us kind of the whole beginnings with your interaction with Frankenmuth Credit Union.
Oh boy. So I worked 2 jobs, and so that's 16 hours a day, doesn't give you much time to sleep. And I thought, well, maybe I want to do something else that might be a little bit more of a career. So we have our little newspaper in town. It's called the Frankenmuth News. And I looked through there, and they said, looking for a teller to be at the credit union. And I went to the interview, and somebody that was a family friend, a board member, Arnie Shar, was there during the interview, and the present CEO. And in the room that I was waiting to be interviewed, I looked next to me, and it was one of my school friend's mom. So I thought, oh my gosh, do I just walk out because, she has a family? Maybe she should get hired. Maybe it shouldn't be me. And I thought, well, I'm just going to go through with this. And I can honestly remember the sweater that I had on that day. And I was hired. So out of a newspaper ad, oh goodness, I'm telling things that maybe I shouldn't tell. So
we're enjoying it.
We had guidance counselors at the high school, and I remember going in there, and they told me, "You won co-op of the year. Do not waste your time nor your money on college. You get to work and just work." So I worked, like I said, 2 jobs, and then got this job. So I actually went to school after I was at the credit union for about 8 years and got my degree. So I was working right away. I was one of 3 employees, and about a half a year later, there was the 4th that was hired. But we absolutely did everything. I mean, the CEO had a title. There was a person that had a lending title, and I did absolutely everything else, including we were in a little corner of a mall, and every time that we grew bigger, We added on some more space. So in the end, we had 5 furnaces because we had taken over 5 different businesses. But from working on the blueprints on how the next big addition would be onto our little mall space, to shoveling, to doing the hiring, to accounting, to doing collections calls, to giving out loans, to opening up accounts, to waiting on people. I mean, there's nothing that we didn't do. We had a lot of camaraderie and just the whole people helping people thing. You do whatever you have to do.
And that is one of the many things I love about your story, Vicki, is that. I mean, you were one of 3 input. You were seriously part of building this business from the ground up, and starting small. And it's so big now and so successful now. And it's just, I feel like there's not a lot of those stories anymore these days. The CEOs maybe hop around or they, whatever. But you were there, rolling your sleeves up, shoveling the sidewalk, doing the accounting books, answering the phones. I mean, everything. It's just super neat.
And I still believe that, I might have the title of CEO, but I don't want to do anything different than I would expect anybody else to do. So when there's work to be done, I want to be there and pitch in any way I can.
So 3 employees, it's an amazing story. And how many employees today, Vicki?
Well, we lease employees to 2 different companies. We own Neighborhood Mortgage Solutions along with 2 other credit unions, and we lease those employees. Plus we have an insurance agency. So we're near 400 employees for all of us, but I believe it'd be just a little bit under 300 for the actual credit union.
Okay. So there's a growth story for you.
Yeah.
So, Vicki, one of the things I have always admired about you is you're a very smart lady, but you lead with a lot of heart. John Maxwell is huge on the heart. One of his principles is you don't get people's head until you touch their heart. You have to touch their heart. Once you get their heart, their head will follow. And you exemplify that so well. I've been with you so many times. I've seen you care for people, show great compassion for people who are in need, do whatever we have to take care of the person who needs extra help. We've stopped in the middle of huge staff sessions to make sure we pray for people who need God's guidance and help. And you just lead with a lot of heart. I'd like you to just talk a little bit about that. I think it's one of the great strengths that you bring to leadership, that you understand that it's both the head and the heart. They go together. You can't really divorce them. But I want you to talk a little bit about your philosophy of bringing heart to work with you.
Thank you. So just off the top of my head, 3 of the things that I'm most proud of in the credit union. Number 1 is our volunteerism. We actually ask at the time that people are hired if they're willing to volunteer. And volunteering means doing something without expecting something in return. And if the person that's looking for a job isn't willing to do that, they're on the long list and usually wouldn't get hired. We want people to know right up front, we are a volunteer organization. We give back to the communities. We're rooted in the communities that we serve. And I know there's been a couple mention of us being big. I hope we're never big, because we still want to have that hometown feel and care about everybody. So I try to stress, and my supervisors, that we want to be the person that cares and not be some big organization that doesn't know where we came from or who got us there. Another item that we've started, gosh, it might be over 10 years ago now. When dividends were so low, not right now, but the first time around, we thought, how do we give back to our communities? Is it by giving somebody $1.50 in dividends, or giving somebody $50 in dividends, or even $100 in dividends? Can we make a bigger difference some way by pooling all of that money? And we started the Frankenmuth Credit Union Foundation for our communities. And we have helped so many communities with jaws of life, a fence around a ball field, warm gloves for schools, donations to food pantries, band uniforms for a school in the inner city that had won a national playoff and was going to another state. Suicide prevention classes to be taught in schools. I could go on and on and on about the applications that we've gotten from all of our communities, and what we've done for students and seniors, the bike trails that are around here. We have a lot of things there. I'm pretty proud of our foundation. And the next, and probably my absolute favorite, is our Hope Pocket. And that is started with one of the people that I'm looking at right now, Mr. Rick Olson. So he is with our staff on a pretty regular basis, and he always has something up his sleeve that's going to make you remember his visit. And this one time, which that's probably been 10 years ago also.
Probably.
We gave $5 to each one of our employees and said, just leave this meeting and do something for somebody else. You know, it could be the easy one of paying for the food for the person in back of you, or you could just do something really special and unique to somebody. So the comments after Rick left, and everybody that did it just thought, oh my gosh, that makes you feel so good inside when you can help somebody else out, and it's just not asked for, but it's on the spot, unique. We started our Hope Pocket, and all of the money that is in this fund is raised by our employees. It's completely voluntary, but it's the employees' money that's in here. And then employees, as they wait on people and hear stories and know of things, unfortunate things that have happened in our community, they nominate these members to get a pair of eyeglasses because theirs got broke. This lady got a new job, but she had to stand for 8 hours, and there's no way she could stand. We bought her some special shoes, backpacks for kids. I don't even know. The list goes on and on. Somebody can't pay for their funeral, or their house burned down, or these catastrophic things that happen. This Hope Pocket Fund is actually money that is raised by our employees, where they nominate members of ours to be taken care of in a small way. And it's just making the difference in the community. And how we raise a majority of that money is, we call it the Hope Tree Auction. So people either buy something to sell at the auction, or they make something to sell at the auction, and then the employees buy those things from the other employees. So we've raised between $20,000 and $30,000 each year just on that auction, and then that gives us the opportunity to serve others. Pretty neat.
Such a cool thing, Rick, that you started, and then Vicki, you carried on, and the heart of it. The heart of Hope Pocket. I mean, you nailed it all there, but then, you know, we've run into situations where we've had a member in a really tough spot and needed to move, or I'm thinking of one particular scenario where this person was moving into a new house but didn't have anything in there. We didn't have enough funds in Hope Pocket, of course, to buy, to furnish their home, but we just shot it out to the whole employees. Hey, what do you got? And I had an old stove, so they got an old stove. Hey, I've got a couch. I've got a fridge. I mean, as employees of the credit union, we furnished this whole house for someone. I believe it was in Flint or somewhere near. Yeah, and it all started from that heart of giving that you guys have cultured and nurtured. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that was a pretty sad story.
Yeah.
Those people lived in the home and they couldn't go outside unless they absolutely had to. And they had all of their drapes and everything pulled because it was in the very rough inner city and they were scared after death. So they found a place to move to, but then they didn't have any furniture because they weren't safe getting whatever they had out of that other house. So we did furnish that house. Thanks for bringing that up, John.
Vicki, these stories are remarkable, and I can only imagine the impact that it has, not only on the people who receive the gifts and the help, but also on the people who are the giving it out, right? Your employees who are participating. But for those who are kind of growing into leadership or in middle management, and they're trying to figure out, a couple of questions come to mind. One is, why is that so important? And two, what are the benefits that you have seen in putting compassion and empathy at the lead with your employees?
I don't know if I can answer that. I'm telling you, if you get involved and do it, there's nothing that can be taught. It is something that comes over you. And I would say 95% of the people feel whatever that magic is, and they want to do it again. I don't think it's anything you can teach. You just have to experience it. And it's beyond, I mean, it's one of God's blessings to us. It's just a feeling that rolls over you that you can't wait to do it again.
I've got to hop in with a story quick, and then Joe, we can go back to the other question you had. But Vicki, I'm probably going to botch this story a little bit, but we were up at Prost in Frankenmuth there, and me and my friend were playing music, and we were having a little work party. And I see you talking to a young man. He graduated around we won't need to say his name. He was about my age or so. And I remember he was talking to you and almost in kind of like this, what is it that you have, Vicki? You know, how are you so successful? And like you said, like you're putting up these new branches everywhere. Like how do you do it? And he's expecting this like secret sauce or this secret, like, oh, I'm a go-getter and I work all the time. And I believe your answer was just everything I do it from the heart. And that poor guy, I believe he started tearing up, didn't he? And you just really, really touched him in a way. But that's the answer, right? It is. If it comes from here, then it's going to work.
It's definitely a servant's heart. I believe in a servant's heart. And when in my younger days, when I was a teller, and we had a grumpy person once in a while that would come in, and I'd elbow the person next to me and I'd say, here comes one. And my plan was to have this person to have a good day or to smile or something. And I have to say that I was probably 99% successful, because when you rub something off on somebody, you know, and when they went out that door, I bet they were a different person than when they themselves came in. So it didn't only excite me to make it happen. I know that I made a difference on the outside.
I've lived by a principle for a long time, and it was taught to me when I was in high school. We had a traveling minister come through, and he just used a phrase that captivated my heart, and it was just giving is living. Mm-hmm. And the idea is if you give, you're fully alive. And I feel that every time I show up at your place, Vicki, there's just an energy throughout your entire place, your people. And I do believe that a lot of that is because they're all givers. They're not takers, they're givers. They give hope, they give encouragement, they give a smile. They take care of the unexpressed wishes of their guests. And they're just wired for that. And you can see it in their countenance and their energy. And then, of course, Jesus himself said it's more blessed to give than to receive. You know, who doesn't enjoy a nice gift? That's pretty nice when it comes your way. And yet he's absolutely right. It's an amazing feeling as you just give and you lift somebody's spirits, you make their day, you take away the pain, you give hope. It's an amazing feeling.
Mm-hmm. You're at work more than you are at home. So we definitely want a great work environment. And I realize the importance of not missing out on anything that you can possibly be a part of. And that's your children's activities, your parents, whatever, even when it comes to your grandkids. And we do, honest, we do whatever we can so that people can be at those baseball games, those dance recitals, whatever they can. And it comes back every single time. So can you stay late for me? Can you please switch your days? Oh my goodness, all they can think of is that they got to do this thing with their family. Sure, I'd be happy to. And it's a fever that runs through our credit union, that people are willing to help each other. And that's because we help them and we know what's important in life and we don't want them to miss out on it. I have a recent hire that sends me a note once a month, and I started saving them, and now I don't save as many anymore, but I woke up this morning and I am so blessed to have this job. I used to miss out on all of this stuff, and now I'm able to go and to get an email like that every month. It's pretty moving, and that's the gas that'll keep you going to do it again and make it happen somewhere else.
Love it. Back to you, Mr. McCarthy.
I was just going to say, I'm loving this whole conversation. This is really where my heart beats. Tell us a little bit about how does that affect the actual job performance? So people have duties, they have responsibilities. There's a lot of volunteerism, obviously, and I love the empathy. But how do you think that this affects not only the culture of your work, but the actual job performance, the people that you've hired to do a particular task? How does it affect them?
About 6 or 7 years ago, we put accountabilities in place, and people are held to a standard. So you can't get away with things. We have fun at work. We want you to enjoy yourself, but it is a give and a take, and you have to carry your own weight and be accountable. So every position has 6 different tiers that people can work up on their own. And if you're interested in taking another position at the credit union, you can study the tiers and accountabilities of that other position so that you know exactly what's expected of you. And the people that are on any kind of commission or incentives, you usually don't get paid for the first one you do. You have to make sure that it's actually part of your routine and that you're giving what you're supposed to give every day. And then you're rewarded.
Excellent.
This kind of ties in a thought that Stephen Covey Jr. develops so well in his book Speed of Trust. He talks about there's 2 crucial vital elements that have to be there for trust to be in place. And one is character. And we've talked a lot about character here tonight. People who have big hearts, people who care for those who are in need. And those are all character sorts of things. But he said trust comes when you have this blend of character and capabilities. And it's not one or the other. They're not mutually exclusive. It's both and. I use it in reference to flying. I fly often. I'm not just looking for a nice pilot. All right. That's not the goal. Is this guy nice? Does he sound nice on the microphone? I want Captain Sully sitting in the pilot's seat. I want somebody who's really smart about all things, and any surprises that happen in the air, I'm looking for capabilities. And so trust comes when those 2 things come together. And I think Vicki and Frankenmuth Credit Union have done an awesome job of really marrying those 2. So the heart part, the character part has never been compromised. That is so alive throughout the organization. But now introducing and bringing in these capabilities, this project that they embarked on 7 years ago, everybody's upping their game. Everybody's striving for excellence and developing their skill set to match the heart. It's a great combination when they're in sync together.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that we've put in place in the last year, so they have these tiers, and tier 6 before had that they had to go to a Dale Carnegie class or something of that nature. And, we're realizing that there's employees that want to be the best they can be. They want to do they want to do what's right. They want to be there every day, but they don't necessarily want to be a leader. They want to be a leader of themselves and their family, but they don't want to be a leader at the credit union. And that is actually a very good thing, because everybody can't be a leader. So with the help of Jon, we've developed a program that is leadership without a title, or leading without a title. And the comments that have come back from people after taking this class, or in the midst of taking the class, on how much this has helped them, both not only at work but at home. That's another thing that warms my heart, when you can have whatever we're doing inside our walls be taken outside of the walls, and somebody else is carrying them on and volunteering and helping others. And when we do these volunteer things, there's quite a few times where spouses and kids will come along to help also. So that's just passing on this culture, or whatever it is that we're trying to define and carry on into the future. It's actually making it happen.
Vicki,
So
you've sent me some of those comments, and Joe and I have the privilege of teaming up with Jon here as we're doing these podcasts. But we are so proud of Jon and what he's doing, and just creating a plan, creating a path forward. It's pretty awesome what you're doing. So I know Vicki's very proud of you. Jon, Joe, and I are equally proud of you for what you're doing to impact these folks.
We're pretty happy that our paths crossed again. Jon was actually a schoolmate of my kids, and went away. And there's a lot of kids that just want to get away, go to the big city or whatever. And when they come back and bring their families, I'm telling you, I have a perma grin on the inside, because it isn't so bad where we are at all. Back being with your parents and all of the things that really matter to you, the whole family thing. I love it.
I have so many nice things to say about you, Vicki. It might just sound like I'm sucking up, but 100% the relationship that we've developed. I mean, I met my wife at Frankenmuth Credit Union. I'm pretty sure my wedding day I gave you a big hug, and I thanked you so much. This wouldn't have happened without you, Vicki. So, but I want to talk real quick. You talked about passing on, into the future, and making sure that families are successful and individuals are successful. One thing we like to talk about in these 3Gen podcasts is succession planning. And not necessarily just CEO succession planning, but getting the next generation, which now, millennials, but even Gen Z, and getting them involved and prepared and ready to carry this torch, to take the baton. Just any thoughts you have on that, or any advice you might have for any of our listeners to how to get that younger generation engaged and ready?
Well, I have some things that I would share with a younger generation. Find a job that you like. Like I said before, you're at work more than you're at home, and it's very important to this life that we have, that we get to live, is only this long. And so you have to make sure and take advantage of everything that it affords you. Take care of yourself. Sometimes we don't think of our health, but we only have one body and one time around. So think about what you're doing and the effects that might have down the line. Learn all you can. Be a sponge. Buddy up with somebody and just let them teach you not only the job knowledge, but the head and heart part of it, and those little things that you might not be able to read in a book. I would encourage somebody younger to always do what's right. I always say, if you do what's right, you don't have to worry about being wrong, because you're just going to be right. And to do what's right when nobody's looking. And that is a pretty deep thought. I even catch myself every once in a while thinking, ooh, if somebody was looking, what would you be doing now? Not that I do it, but just to have that thought. I think it's very important to give credit where credit is due. Don't try to turn it around and make yourself look successful. Give that person credit that actually should get it. Live life with no regrets. Don't get to the latter stages of life and think, oh, I wish I would have. Don't take those people that are close to you for granted. Exhibit trustworthiness. Rick, you were talking about the whole trust thing. I think that trust opens and encourages healthy communication, and communication is definitely a key. Communicating like we are now, and maybe even in person, and not necessarily on our device. And don't be afraid of change. Embrace change. Be a change agent. Those are the items that I would have for somebody starting out or earlier in their career. And if you want me to go on, I will.
It's great advice, but I know Joe wants to ask a similar question. So do I. Joe, you kind of cover the middle stages here. Maybe I'll let you take the lead on that, and then when you're done, I'll talk to her about the more of the ending years of a career. But go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, well, as I listen to your story, Vicki, and get to know you a little bit better, it's remarkable all that you've accomplished and all that you've done. But I think one of the things that jumped out at me is that you have stayed with your credit union all those years, all along. And I can only imagine that you've had plenty of offers and plenty of opportunities to go to another organization, another city, another opportunity. So tell us, and I represent, the middle management, the people who are kind of growing. They've gone past the opening stages and they're looking at the future to see, where should I be and when. What were the benefits and what was the decision that helped? What were the things that helped you make the decision to stay where you are and grow within your organization as opposed to jumping to some other one?
Well, first of all, the whole thing about members that are actually owners of the credit union, that's a thing that intrigues me. And then to hire somebody and just to see them grow in the organization. If you were to move somewhere else, you'd lose that connection to see them develop to their fullest. And I definitely have to give credit to my board of directors. They took a chance on me and hired me. And I've always done my best to tell them whatever I can about the situation, but their comment is usually, you know what's best and do what's right. And that latitude that they have given me has been something that if you jump to another organization, you might not have that opportunity to actually use your vision and whatever you have to make something happen and to just, well, when you think about being the third employee, you know everything about the organization. And then as you grow, that other people learn all of those things. I don't know. I've often said, and I tell my board this, you can tell me that my career is over anytime that you want to, but it's an open door, because I will also tell you when I don't think that I am giving back the way that I feel that I should be giving back. And I wake up every single morning and look in that mirror and think, I am so lucky to be able to go to at a job that I absolutely love. I love my job, and I'm just the luckiest person in the whole wide world.
Awesome. Gonna have you comment on one more thing, and I've been in the workplace for a long time. I've loved it, and I feel the same way. My wife gave me a card, Vicki, and the card simply said, I continue to be amazed at your ability to get paid for what you do. And I go, you're right, man. This is amazing. Super cool job. Get paid for it. It's awesome. So we're very blessed to do things that we really, really enjoy. One of the things that I'm very cognizant of and find myself addressing fairly often, I'd love to hear your take on it, but it is for those who've been in the workplace for a while now, and they are thinking about the wrap up of their career, the latter stages of their career. What wisdom advice would you have for people so that they can finish strong in the workplace? What would you say to those folks?
will never come to a job that you think you're going to coast out of. Like, I've got 5 more years left and I'm just going to coast. That is such a disservice to the employees that you work with and the whole organization. So if you're not going to come and give your all every day, then maybe you should be looking at one of those other places to go to work. I think it's important to enjoy the little things and to bring up little things with other people that they might not think of. I definitely believe that you should share your knowledge, your beliefs, and your ethics. You don't ever, and I actually know a couple of people like this that think that if they teach somebody else whatever it is, then they won't have their job anymore. And just to teach somebody something and see that they have a different way of doing it than you might have had. And that is so rewarding because you've taught them what you wanted them to know, but then they've taken their own spin and added on it and made it even better. So thinking that your way is the only way, it isn't. I think you need to let those close to you know how much you appreciate them and the family level, how much you love them. Definitely the servant's heart that we have talked about. You want to be doing that in your career and thinking about how you can do that after you leave your career. Well done is better than well said. So always leave your mark on how you do things, and never forget what got you where you are. Never forget that. And just a couple other things is to be kind, have fun, and pray.
Love it.
Awesome.
Love it. Well, Vicki, this has been a fabulous time. Just talking with you, sharing with you, hearing your heart. We're the three of us. We're raving fans. We really are. Love who you are as a person and how that comes through. It impacts every life that you touch. So thank you for letting God use your life to touch so many lives in such a profound way. And it's been an honor for us to spend this time with you. Thank you, friend, for taking time to share and talk from your heart. And God bless you in every way. It's been an absolute joy to spend the evening with you.
Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure. And you live every day and you just go on and on and on. You're on that treadmill of whatever it might be, but just stopping to actually reflect on the questions that you've asked me. So I am truly thankful to you for asking me to be a part of this. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I have to throw in another thank you as well. Honestly, Vicki, like I said, if it weren't for you, I don't think I'd ever met my wife. If it weren't for you, I never would have met Rick Olson, and as such now met Joe. And there's so much that you've given to me personally. I could never thank you enough. And then just aside from my personal, just everything you do for Frankenmuth and for all the employees of the credit union, you're an absolute inspiration. Just thank you for everything you do.
You're welcome. Love life.
It shows.
It's been a joy.
We'll let you do our wrap up tonight.
Yeah. I was going to say, on behalf of the three Jan, Joe McCarthy, Rick Olson, and Jon Weirauch, we just want to say thank you, Vicki, for your time, for your example, for the impact that you've had on your family, on the lives of your employees, on your community, and the inspiration that it'll have for those who have tuned in to hear, what does great leadership really look like? How does it operate in this world? What are the benefits, both personally and professionally? So you've been a joy to talk with. I can't wait till the opportunity to meet you in person. And for all of you who have tuned in, don't forget to stop by Frankenmuth, Michigan on your way to wherever it is that you're going. You won't regret it. So God bless you all until we meet again.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.